The NFL has turned into a year-round phenomenon, so it's probably inaccurate to say that football is back with Week 1 here Thursday night, but man, it feels good to say football is back. Finally we get validation, a repudiation of our preseason expectations. We'll get to see the rookies in their first real action and some old running backs trying to make one last run at it. We'll learn a lot simply from snap counts and targets. We get football, and I can't wait. As always, we'll kick things off with Week 1 in a tweet. New England Patriots chase perfection, and we chase clarity in their touch. Of Patriots have put together one of their best and deepest teams ever. That's awesome for them, but it sure makes ranking them in fantasy a chore. Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski are both number 1 at their respective positions this week. Brandon Cooks is a must-start. Everyone else would rather take a White Arnze approach in Week 1. Mike Gilliley is a number 3 running back for me, not because I'm comfortable projecting him as a number 3 back, but because the range is anywhere from workhorse to a few short yardage carries. James White's role seems more predictable, but I still see him as more of a PPR flex. Chris Hogan has a big role projected onto him with Julian Edelman injury, but HES third at best in target potential. If you have to start one of these guys, it isn't the end of the world, but I would rather see how the Patriots employ their weapons in Week 1 before taking the chance. Ezekiel Elliott is playing. I'm sure you know this, and you've probably read plenty about it already. We still don't have a permanent resolution to this saga, but all you need to know for Week 1 is get Elliott in your lineup. And get Darren McFadden out. This is a bad matchup, but Elliott is as matchup-proof as they come running behind this offensive line. His eligibility lowers Dak Prescott upside slightly. The Miami Dolphins and Tampa Bay Buccaneers are not J. All of your Dolphins and Buccaneers out of your lineup. Chris Towers has you covered with Week 1 replacements for all of the relevant players here. Long term, this gives me a little bit of concern about J.J. holding up down the stretch. He's a high-volume back that runs angry and takes a lot of shots. Taking away that week of rest could hurt his prospects in the fantasy playoffs. If anyone benefits, it's Doug Martin. Yes, he has to wait another week, but HES trading a Week 4 matchup with the New York Giants for a Week 11 tilt with Miami. That's a nice schedule upgrade. So many bad quarterbacks. Scott Olsen, Tom Savage, Mike Glennon, Josh McCown, Brian Hoyer, Deshaun Kaiser. All Week 1 starters. It's Week 1 of the NFL season, not the preseason. The first impact is simple. The Los Angeles Rams, Atlanta Falcons and Buffalo Bills are all excellent DST streaming options. We know that. What we don't know is how much these bad quarterbacks will affect the likes of T.Y. Hilton, Pierre Garçon, Corey Coleman, Kenny Britt and DeAndre Hopkins. You'll be watching closely, because Hilton and Hopkins specifically have top 10 upside if their quarterback play could just be adequate. It'd be remiss if I talked about bad quarterbacks and didn't mention Blake Bortles. Bortles has already survived one quarterback controversy in the preseason, but he has a terribly difficult matchup in Week 1 against the Houston Texans. Could he get benched? It's possible. Rookie running backs may get off to rough starts. This is the most hyped rookie class one can remember. While I've largely resisted the hype, I also can't wait to see if any of them can live up to it. That's going to be tough for Leonard Fournette, Kareem Hunt and Joe Mixon in Week 1 against terrible matchups. Dalvin Cook and Christian McCaffrey have it easier, but McCaffrey specifically has usage concerns and a game script that may better suit Jonathan Stewart. I'm starting Cook and Hunt as number 2 running backs, and I'd have a hard time benching McCaffrey too, especially in PPR. Fournette and Mixon are in the gray area where I'm only starting them if I don't have an obviously better option. I would consider Rob Kelly and Terrence West better options this week in non-PPR leagues, for example, and I'd rather start Danny Woodhead or Bilal Powell in PPR. Revenge games for running backs. Revenge game narratives are really fun, especially with high-profile players. We get 2 of them in Week 1 with Adrian Peterson and Eddie Lacy both returning to the city where they made their name to face their former team. They're also both fighting for playing time. I don't want to start Lacy or Peterson this week, but I do want to watch their touch split. Lacy's will likely be impacted by the health of Thomas Rawls, but the split between Peterson and Mark Ingram will be fascinating. I feel confident that Ingram is currently a better running back, but we'll find out if Sean Payton agrees. Super Mariota starts his MVP Bedekai. I'm stealing this one from Jamie Eisenberg. Jamie has called Mariota a dark horse MVP candidate and I love it. Marcus Mariota has been remarkably efficient in his first 2 years in the league, while working with below-average offensive weapons. In Week 1, we'll see him for the first time with Eric Decker and Corey Davis added on top. What makes it even better is we'll see him against a Raiders defense that was carved up in the preseason. Mariota is a consensus top 4 quarterback for us this week, and by far my favorite quarterback to play in DFS. Return of beast mode. Marshawn Lynch is back in the NFL. But is he back? I have my doubts. Lynch is a 31-year-old who sat out last year. He was bad and hurt the year before. He says he didn't miss football. So what's the motivation here? Selling beast mode gear, selling Oakland Raiders tickets before they leave for Las Vegas, maybe HES just here so he won't get fined. Whatever it is, I'm going to have C. Lynch looking like his old self before I believe it. I'd also like to get DeAndre Washington and Jalen Richard on my bench in case this goes as poorly as I expect. New look offenses in San Francisco. It's obvious the San Francisco 49ers will have a new offense because of their new coach Kyle Shanahan. I'm interested to see that offense, and especially how Pierre Garçon and Carlos Hyde fit in it. But I'm far more interested in the team visiting San Francisco this week. The Carolina Panthers didn't add a new coach or quarterback like the 49ers, but they did add Christian McCaffrey, and apparently they also added a new package of plays just for their rookie running back. This is obviously exciting for McCaffrey, who could very well be the #1 rookie running back. However, I also want to see what Vic does for Cam Newton. Newton has never had anyone as adept as McCaffrey at gaining yards after the catch. With rumors that Newton will run less this season, I'm hopeful short throws to McCaffrey that turn into big gains will help mitigate the loss of rushing production. Is road bend still a thing? Ben Roethlisberger has struggled on the road over the past 3 seasons, averaging more than a yard less per attempt, to go along with a terrible 2.7% touchdown rate. Of course, for most of the past 3 seasons he hasn't had all 3 of Antonio Brown, Martavis Bryant and Le'Veon Bell on the field at the same time. When he did play with those 3 for 10 games in 2014, it was incredible. Roethlisberger had a 16-game pace of 5,374 yards and 38 touchdowns in those 10 games. He played 4 road games in that stretch and topped 340 yards in 3 of them. Now, is 2014 really relevant to the 2017 opener? Nope. But I'd argue it's just as relevant as Roethlisberger's road stats in past games without all of his weapons. I love this matchup against the Cleveland Browns and have him ranked as my #2 quarterback this week.